Now there are many challenges all of us are aware of. There are many challenges that are going to arise. There are many uncertainties, and how management education itself has to transform in the future. That is going to be the focus of today's discussion. For some of you who may not know who I am, my name is Balasubramanian. I am currently the director of GRG Center for Advanced Studies in Coimbatore, and the speakers are two eminent people who have had extensive experience in the field of management education. We have with us Dr. Nandagopal, who was for a long time the director of PhD Institute of Management in Coimbatore, and who is currently the director of Xavier Institute of Management and Entrepreneurship at Kochi. We also have with us another very eminent personality, Dr. Bhimaraya Metri, who is the director of Indian Institute of Management, Tiruchirappalli. Besides all the credentials that both of them have, I should also acknowledge that both of them have had extensive experience in terms of administration of organizations dealing with management education. Both of them have had. So we are very happy to have them as speakers for this webinar. Thank Dr. Nandagopal. Thank you very much, Dr. Metri, for agreeing to be the speakers today. The format, may I request all the participants to kindly keep the microphone on mute, and you can also keep your video, the camera off, unless you are speaking. When you are speaking, you can unmute your microphone. Otherwise, keep it on mute. That will help us to hear other people very clearly. The format for today's webinar, after my initial remarks, which I am making right now, we will have the speakers make the opening remarks. Each of them, Dr. Nandagopal and Dr. Metri, will speak for about 10 to 15 minutes each, making the opening remarks. Broadly, in the context of management education, what it will be in the post-pandemic environment, what are the challenges, what is it to be expected by all of us. Now, this will be the theme, and they will speak for about 10 to 15 minutes. After that, I will come in again, and you will have a discussion among the three of us. I will raise a few questions for both the speakers, and we will interact for a little while, and then I will leave the floor open for all the participants' questions and interaction with the speakers. I suspect that the whole thing should take approximately 1 hour. That is in terms of the time that I expect, but time is not a constraint right now. All the participants, if you see at menu, there is something called the show conversation. It will be in the form of a message icon, and that message icon you can click. You will see on the right hand side of your screen, you will see a panel opening up. You can raise your question on that, and those questions can also be taken up by the speakers later. Okay. Yes, Mahesh? Okay. Now, I want to make a couple of points. Management education itself has undergone tremendous change over the past 20 years. What we studied when we were at the schools, in terms of the theory, in terms of the concepts, in terms of the framework, All that has undergone a tremendous change in the past 20 years. But that never took into account what this kind of the coronavirus or the disaster that we are facing currently, how that will change the world completely, once and for all, irreversible change, how that will impact is something that management education did not foresee. And therefore, management education is going to face tremendous challenges. So therefore, the speakers, my request is, will you kindly list down what are those challenges and how the institutions which are dealing with management education should focus on solving or finding solutions for these. This is one aspect. The second aspect, everybody is talking about Industry 4.0. I personally believe that there is something called Industry X.0, not even 4.0 or 5.0. After this pandemic, you will find that industry is going to face Industry X.0. That is going to be there. And therefore, there is nothing called management education 4.0 or 5.0. Management education needs to be completely revamped, is my feeling. So that is something that both of you can address. That is the second point. The third point, all of us are aware that technology has been changing the way we work, the way we live. But the speed at which the technology is transforming our lives today is completely unprecedented. It was completely unexpected. Many of us were not ready for that. My question to you, therefore, how will the technology impact management education of the future? That is my third point. My last point for both of you is industry is also going to change. For example, the Tata Consulting Services has announced that maybe by 2022, 100% of their staff will be working from home. If that is the situation, what are the changes that are going to happen in the field of, in the domain of human resources management? For organizations, traditional management as it applies to human resources management has been dealing with recruitment, selection, performance appraisal, compensation, etc., etc. Is it going to be the same? Is it going to be completely different? How do we teach the students what to expect in the industry X.0? That is my last question. So I will not take much of your time. In terms of the sequence, I would request Dr. Metri to go first, make his opening remarks for about 10 to 15 minutes. Thereafter, Dr. Nandagopal for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then I will come back once again. Over to you, Dr. Metri. Go ahead.
Thank you, Professor Balasubramanian. This is Dr. Metri. First of all, I thank AIMS for inviting me for this important webinar, that is management education in the post-pandemic environment. So to begin with, all of you know that COVID-19 is a massive disruption. Today, there is a physical as well as mental disruption. And we are dealing with it, but we don't have control on it. As Professor Balasubramanian rightly said, management education has gone tremendous changes in last 2 decades, but this change is different than the 2 decades change. This is due to COVID-19, and all other changes are due to technology and other reasons. So the first time in the history of mankind, I can say management education since its birth, this kind of change is happening. It is a very unique, and in this kind of situation, basically we have to find an art of leading through radically changing times. It is a dark as well as uncertain time. COVID-19 pandemic has caused a fast and radical shift. More colleges and universities to go for remote as well as online teaching. Now this pandemic has taken the world. I can say this fits into a mega trend that continues to shape our world. This is a super threat, COVID-19. This crisis is going to transform many aspects of the life, including management education. Now, this is a big challenge for the academic leaders. I can say academic leadership is in crisis. And in such crisis, two important dimensions play a very, very significant role, that is innovation and adaptation. Innovation and adaptation are more important than ever in today's COVID-19 pandemic effect. We have to design and implement major change program in a context where management education outcomes are dependent on the people shifting their day-to-day behaviors and mindset to drive the value. So today it is all about the people, and people behaviors are changing because of the pandemic, as well as their mindset has to change to drive the value. So from traditional to the new norm, we have to move to the new norm, and that is where the role of deans and directors of business schools, their important role is drive transformation change. As Professor Balasubramanian rightly said, they are the agents, they are the leaders to drive the transformation change, such as from normal to the new normal. Now, to get it to new normal, three things are important. Number one, shape and deliver transformation change. Number two, shift behaviors to shape institutional culture. Culture of the institution has to change. And the last and most important, leaders become model for change. So these three changes have to happen if you really want to bring transformation change in the management education in the event of COVID-19.
Can you repeat these three? Can you repeat these three, Dr. Metri?
Once again, I repeat, deans and directors drive transformation change, such as from normal to new normal. And to get into new normal, they have to get into three important dimensions. Number one, shape and deliver transformation change. Number two, shift behavior to shape institutional culture. Number three, leaders become model for change. These are the three important dimensions one has to look into that. Apart from that, we have a very unique opportunity to use the teaching personas, philosophies and practices to inspire our students to keep learning, particularly in the event of this digital online learning space. Now, because of this COVID-19, global experimentation with remote and online teaching is already started and it has happened. But this needs certain essential or prerequisites, I can say, or you can say certain challenges. A current pedagogy or traditional pedagogy is not going to work out. Whatever the material, course materials, items, books, all those things, whatever we used to practice for face-to-face classroom or campus classroom, they are not going to be useful. So in the new pedagogy, we have to change everything which suits the environment of the remote teaching and online learning. So pedagogical change is extremely important. Simply you can't transfer the existing pedagogy. Other than that, important one is traditional teaching faculty will become a faculty advisor. It is extremely important. The way we are teaching in the face-to-face classroom, same way teaching in the remote and online is not going to work, because it will become just teaching and students won't capture, and basically there are not going to be a fruitful discussion and interactions. So just teaching, one-sided teaching is not going to help, particularly in the case of management education. So therefore, it is extremely important faculty should become a faculty advisor. You know, there are two, advisor and teaching faculty. Teaching faculty do the role of teaching, But the moment I use the word faculty advisor means faculty first of all, the moment enter the class, as a advisor, as a guardian, as a parent kind of thing, first of all, you'll ask, how are you feeling? What is happening? How this new change is making you a certain impact? First of all, he will inquire about other things, the convenience, the suitability, the ecosystem. Inquiring all those things, the faculty advisor will come to the topic which he or she is going to teach. So this basically take the students into confidence as well as connect the students and bring them into the same wavelength. That happens if the faculty, teaching faculty will become a faculty advisor. Apart from that, it is extremely important, it is extremely challenging from passive learning, because online learning, if you just teach it, will become a passive learning. If you want to make a very active and fruitful discussion better than the campus teaching, then in that case, we have to find out certain techniques so that students can be fully engaged. Then those few techniques we need to look into that. Number one technique I can say, when you teach the students in the class, you should certainly on particular issue or topic, you should conduct a poll. How many of you agree on this? How many of you disagree on this? So that you can activate everybody and you can engage them. So conducting such kind of polls in the class intermittently. Apart from that, you can also keep the chat window open, because anybody has any doubt, immediately they will write and faculty member or faculty advisor can see and they can answer. This is how connecting the dot is extremely important. The second technique is chat window you should keep open in online teaching. Apart from that, you can also teach online using drama as a technique. So students are given a role and they will play like a drama. So it will catch the attention of everybody and attention span automatically increase. You need not to, many times people ask the question, online teaching means the period, the session time should be much lesser than the face-to-face. So that is not required, but what kind of approach we adopt in online teaching, that is extremely important. You can also use drama as one of the approach to engage the student. Apart from that, role play, certain roles of the business corporate can be given to the students, and students do, wherever they are sitting in the different places, they will do the remote play. Apart from that, another important technique is podcasting. So basically podcasting, whatever the literature, they will podcast it and everybody can see. Apart from that, you can also give the podcast assignment. They will be interviewing with the great eminent person, and that can be published and that can be shared to the students. They will enjoy and they will get engaged. Then simulation gaming is another important technique to engage the student. The way you do in the face-to-face or campus classroom, similar kind of or same kind of simulation game can be systematically conducted in the online, so that you can fully engage the students. They will be a part and parcel of the decision making process in the simulation, and they will be very curious to know what kind of results are going to come. So that is another very powerful technique to engage the student. Then you can make in the class a virtual groups and give the task, and they will be playing an important task. Apart from that, to engage the students, ask very good question to the students, right question to be asked, so that will lead to the very fruitful discussion. Variety of points will come into picture. Apart from that, you can also give some, you can also put some videos. You can play some videos so that students will get attracted. Unusual, very unique kind of videos of eminent personalities, or you can say in today we use the word called human library. Such kind of person's life and lifestyle, if you put it, everybody is very curious to know what is happening, what kind of person he is. Apart from that, even you can flipped classroom we teach in the campus, same can be done. You give all the material to the students, student prepare well to the class, and you can lead the discussion probably much better than what we do into the face-to-face classroom. So this is the way we can fully engage the students. If you engage the students, then how much time the online class will be there, this question automatically disappears. It may go long as we do into the face-to-face. But it is a very challenging, it all depends upon the teacher. The moment they become advisor, I am sure all these kind of techniques and all they will adopt, and they will make more interesting I was talking to one of the Professor Sridhar from North Carolina University last year December. He was telling that our online EMBA interaction is happening much more than the campus MBA class. So that was the statement. It all about how we engage our students in the online. Then having said this, the another important thing, the challenge in the online MBA program or classes is evaluation and examination. So most of us are habitual of conducting, say, multiple choice questions on computer-based test and all. But today it is possible remote proctoring. You know, there is a human proctor as well as the AI, artificial intelligence can be used. Even students might be sitting in their own respective states and respective homes. You can conduct a descriptive questions, and once the exam is conducted, there are agencies one can hire. Today, GMAT and all conducted based on that. So once that is done, and the human proctors are observing 30 to 40 people, and even though thousands of people can appear the test at a time and they can monitor, and once the exam is conducted, that can be transformed to another platform and it is sent to the faculty. So the way they assess the physical papers, they can assess, and after the program office, and they can do the evaluation. So this challenge also can be taken care. Now, one important thing in the remote teaching, online teaching is, it is extremely important, that is, the inequalities are magnified. Basically, the bandwidth, entire country, because particularly all good business school students come from different part of the country, different states. Some of the remote villages, second tier towns and even villages, the bandwidth issue will be there, internet connectivity issue will be there. Is it all right?
Yeah, we are able to.
So internet issue, all those things, time being it, to begin with, these difficulties, challenges are going to come. But I am sure in due course of time, these inequalities in the internet and bandwidth and audio, video, visuals, all those things are going to disappear the moment we get into online education. Then apart from that, the two important things, synchronous time and asynchronous time. So synchronous time means basically during the class in the online teaching, a faculty members will be teaching and students will be listening. And if it is a big class, probably attention span and all may be the issue. But asynchronous timing, basically when the class is over, the recorded lecture sessions will be there, the case reading will be there, simulation game students will be playing. As and when they feel, a group of students can come and they can play the simulation game and they can read the cases and they can discuss, as well as they can also see the recorded lecture classes. So that is the advantage of online and remote teaching. And now the another important challenge in case of online is, with certain kind of cases, personalized problem solving or innovative problem solving, where the physical proximity and non-verbal communication plays an important role. In such kind of cases, probably it is extremely important such courses should be taught in the campus, so that non-verbal communication says many things. What you won't say, but you can make a meaning out of that. So basically students can listen to the unspoken when physical classes happens because of non-verbal communication. So listening to the unspoken is extremely important. That is happening more effectively in the face-to-face, certain kind of courses, that is innovative problem solving where personalized attention is required, and certain kind of courses in OBHR, these things play a very important role. Where the mentorship is required, such kind of cases probably remote, yet to be ready to get. However, where the industry visits, some of the courses like operations, students are taken to the industry visit. Now that is also possible in online because of augmented reality and virtual reality. Because of these technologies, as Professor Balasubramanian rightly says, today we have such an advanced technology particularly in the era of Industry 4.0, digital technology is so advanced. Using these technologies, even though students are sitting off the different states, but still I can take them to BHEL Trichy as a visit, and they can see that various operations, production operations, they can see in the industry sitting in their home. So that is the kind of technology is there, and the technology will help us to, even you need not to physically visit, there is no need for separate logistic and transportation, but you can do. So that is the way technology is helping, and students sitting in their own respective place, they can learn a lot. So this is how it is extremely important for the academic leaders, the directors and deans. They have to reshape the minds of the faculty and students for the new normal. Now, all of you know that we all are adjusting. Last 3-4 months, we are adjusting, basically recalibrating to be relevant. Unless until we are relevant, we will be thrown out of the market. So relevant is important, and that is why we have to recalibrate, and for recalibrate we have to readjust. We all are readjusting, and to really get into a recalibration to be relevant, then in that case we have to focus on 4 R's. 4 R's are extremely important. Number 1, rethinking. We have to rethink of existing MBA. If you don't rethink, we will be thrown out of the market. Second, we have to redesign. We have to redesign the courses to fit into the online and remote teaching. All the entire courses, as Professor Balasubramanian rightly said, we have to revamp. It is not only 4.0, it is X.0 kind of industry environment. The corporate world is shaping, entire people mindset is shaping, and nobody can stop business schools to also change and shape as well as to be relevant to the current business world. And to do that, we need to redesign the courses, and that is the second important R. Third important R is rebuilding. So once you redesign the course, you have to rebuild the programs. Rebuild the program means probably future belongs to a blended learning. Not fully online, not fully campus based, but it is going to be a blended. A basket of courses are going to be more relevant for remote teaching. A certain basket of courses are extremely important to do them at the campus. So that is where blended learning is going to play a very, very important role. And the fourth important R, that is rediscovering. So fourth important R is rediscovering. It is for the every individual. It is a student, faculty and academic leaders basically rediscovering what is truly essential and what is not. It is extremely important what is truly essential and what is not. That rediscovering is extremely important, because rediscovering certain part of life where not as essential as we thought, and also it is important rediscovering certain essential parts we had forgotten. So they were essential, we have forgotten, and some of them were not essential, but you have considered them as essential. So that is where it is extremely important. Truly knowing the world, we have to fully know ourselves. So knowing ourselves, that is what basically discovering ourselves is extremely important, because in this changing world, each one of us to shape ourselves, our mindset has to be shaped, behavior has to be shaped. That is how the rediscovering number 4R plays an important role. Now, as an academic leader, need to focus on 3 key important aspects to really get into 4Rs. Number 1, reshape the minds of the faculty and staff to derive value to the new normal. That is, basically we have to shape the institution culture. Number 2, highest order of student engagement. No passive learning should take place. Students' engagement is the second important dimension aspect. We have to look into that. Third one is institutional financial stress testing, because for survival, the financial management of the institute is extremely important. So that is why institute's financial stress testing is extremely important. So these are the aspects extremely important, and academic leaders have to transform, keeping all these aspects and dimensions in mind so that we can be relevant in X.0 dimension to equip our students to be relevant to the tomorrow's industry, whatever we can say X.0, as well as the tomorrow's corporate world in the post COVID-19.
Thank you, Dr. Metri.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It has been wonderful listening to you. But what I want to do before I hand over to Dr. Nandagopal, I just want to raise two questions which you can think about. After Nandagopal, you can respond to that.
Sure, sir.
My first question is, don't you think even the concepts and the principles of management, whether it was relating to motivation or human resources management, or whether it was relating to supply chain management or operations management, or it was referring to marketing management, including brand management, the concepts themselves have to undergo a change. This is my question number one. Question number two, when you talk about the curriculum redesign, to what extent can the curriculum be redesigned without knowing what the industry of the future is going to be? That is my second question. If you don't know what the industry is going to be in the future, how do you redesign your curriculum? That is my second question. But you can think about it. I will now hand over to Dr. Nandagopal to make his opening remarks, and then we will come back to you.
Thank you, sir. Sure.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Bala. I think we got an extensive presentation by Professor Metri. I think it was a wonderful, and it is very difficult to come after him. Basically, Professor Bala mentioned about the impact of the changes. I think always management education, we are all very comfortable all these years. There will be impact on the industry, and our role is to prepare the graduates to meet the requirements of the industry. The first time we are facing the crisis. So we never had this kind of a crisis so far, as you all, both of you mentioned in the past that we never had issues like this. So now we live in uncertainty. As even though Government of India, AICT has come out with the calendar, we were not sure whether we will be able to start the classes in July, August, whether we will be able to complete the admission. So everything there is uncertainty is going on. Now under this uncertainty, one issue was how do we use technology? I think last 10 to 15 years, there was a lot of talk about the use of technology, digital media, and all those things. So a lot of faculty members and senior colleagues were reservations about this use of technology and also the digital tools. But look at this now. Let us take last 3 months. What has happened? All of us started using all the IT tools. So that means that when there is a crisis, we all rise to the occasion and we try to adapt to the changes. I think that is what one lesson we learned during these 3 months, that when there is a crisis, we all learn things. And I could see a lot of our senior colleagues, they're all now trying to understand what is Zoom, what is the Facebook, so many things. These tools are all which we kind of pedagogies we can use. Like this, we are going to be new challenging things. Of course, as a dean and directors of business schools, we have different challenges like admissions and handling examination, online examination, those kind of administrative challenges, all going to make or put us going to be in the different world altogether. So this is what my initial reaction, and we'll come back after the discussions.
Thank you, Dr. Nandagopal. Now, a couple of questions for you, which you can respond after Dr. Metri responds to my earlier two questions. A couple of questions for you, which you may like to write down. One, uh, when you say this technology, using technology, etc., there are issues in management education which relate to soft skills. Now, how do you impart soft skills through online? Now, this is a question that you may like to think about. That is an answer that will be required. The second point, we are talking about management education. In what fundamental way is management education different from any other education? You can talk about art and science, you can talk about engineering, you can talk about commerce. In what way is management education different from these? These are my two questions. I will come back to you later. Over to Dr. Metri.
Thank you, Professor Bala. I think first question I will take, that is about, don't you think that concept and principles of management related to OB, HR or a supply chain, marketing, are they undergoing to undergo change? Now, this is a very interesting question. I think it is also favorite question. I must tell you that, Professor Bala, it is very important. If you look at the concept, models, framework, these are the things came from the West, and we adopted West as a best. And that is our last 30-40 years in management education. We have taken all the, in marketing 4 Ps and 7 Ks and BCG matrix, all those kind of things. But I will again go back to little history, century old. If you go back to our own Indian management, traditional management, if you look at our own kingdom, look at Chola, look at Shivaji, look at Chhatrasal, all these kings, in their time, they used to live in uncertainty life because other king used to attack on these kings. So every kings were known to live in an uncertain time. So uncertain time means basically like COVID-19 is, I said it is a destruction. So this destruction is nothing but bringing the new context. So our kings were known to living in every time new and new context. New context is nothing but firefighting. So Indians are always proven as a best in firefighting. Whether you take Kerala flood or recent our Orissa flood or any such thing, tsunami, within no time we can sort out and we make it normal. But if you look at America, Katrina happened and they took 2 years to restore it to bring it to the normal. Because they put everything into the matrix or framework or models, do the analysis, and you know that too much analysis is a paralysis and it doesn't go anywhere. But if you look at all our Indian, traditionally, historically, whether it is the kings and all, these all people learned the art of sixth sense. So there is no concept and model. If the work is given, context is given, they deliver the outcome, they deliver the result. So it has been, you look at the Shivaji, who was a strategist, as long as he was there, Britishers could not enter to that belt, Arabians, that Maharashtra part. Because he was a strategist and how he learned the art of that sixth sense. Like electricity, it gives the result light, but how it goes, how it flows, we can't see. Same way, this sixth sense, without concept and models, we are contextual based. Indians are good at contextual leadership. Indians are good at contextual leadership. Western world is good at the model and framework leadership. They put everything into that, and framework and model will take a decision. But in our case, every context, the leader will take a decision looking at the context. Now, how that good decision making happens, best decision making happens because they learned, say for example, in Tamil Nadu, the best Bible, I can say Tirukural, best, every problem you can find a medicine in Tirukural. Look at our Vedas, look at Puranas, look at our Chanakya Niti. All those things, those who have read are earlier, you know that Indian undivided family, grandparents used to teach all these things, the grandchildren, and they used to learn Ramayana, Mahabharata, all these old traditional things, and because of that, these people known for contextual leadership, and that is why today, if you look at Satya Nadella, look at our even Google, Sundar Pichai, IBM head, or GMAT head, or Deloitte, all are Indians. These are all the contextual leaders, because where there are no roads, they prepare the roads and they go ahead. So therefore, today in India, we need to get into a contextual leadership, fluid leadership. Contextual is nothing but, context is changing very, very often. So that is where future is fluid because of the X.0 industrial revolution, and future strategy, 15-year, 20-year strategy is not going to work out. A strategy is fluid. That is where the fluid leadership or contextual leadership is going to work out. So that is why my take on this is.
So are you suggesting that the curriculum should be changed to make it more Indian? Is that what you are suggesting?
No, it is already there, sir. In the model curriculum, already we have introduced Indian ethos and business ethics as a one compulsory course in 2000.
That is only one course. MBA curriculum.
But whatever the courses, for example, if you take about any OB or leadership, any course, we have Akshay Patra, we have Tata Business, we have ITC Chopal. All those are all based on the contextual leadership. Today, Satya Nadella is considered as a best sense maker who can predict 5 to 10 years well in advance, and he can do it. And that is why, yesterday, if you see the Microsoft profit during the, this COVID crisis, whatever they expected pre-COVID, they have broken all the records. So this is extremely important, and this teaching such kind of leadership based on the cases, based on our company's examples, that helps basically to make a more robust contextual leader, and that is what need of an hour as far as first question is concerned.
There is one question from a participant.
Yeah.
You spoke about online programs.
Right.
Dr. Narayana Reddy wants to ask, how do you build credibility for online programs?
I think credibility for online program is, this kind of the disruption, the context, basically it has built a credibility on online program. For example, we used to run face-to-face program in one of the public sector company, and remaining portion, it has to go to another few months. And they said, okay, now let us go on online. And with the same price and same rigor, same context, we have gone for online. We are teaching currently. That company program is on. So credibility wise, because this context, because of this pandemic, it has given and created an opportunity, because there is no better choice than going online, going remote. So, and this situation basically make this program online teaching more robust, more better, and probably more, it is at par or at comparable with the face-to-face.
Another related question before I move to Nandagopal.
Yeah.
Another participant is asking, I think it is Jay Lakshmi. She wants to know, how do these online classes or teaching, how will they impact or improve the employability of students?
So I think employability, the way we do for the face-to-face classroom, here also we are doing the things, only the mode is changed, the channel has changed. From face-to-face, physical proximity, we are now doing through remote. So employability, both the cases, if the rigor is safe, employability will be always at highest order. It is all about who teaches, how they teach us. The best teacher is there, whether it is face-to-face or online, the results are going to be the super.
Okay, we will come back to Dr. Nandagopal.
Yeah.
Dr. Nandagopal?
Yeah. See, I think your first question about the soft skills, how do we teach soft skills in online? I think already it was started. Employability, we mentioned, we talked about it. See, whole definition of soft skill is going to change now. So what is the soft skills? We are talking about communication, presentation, and negotiation. These are the soft skills. Maybe in the era of online teaching, working from home, and all these things, the definition of soft skills may also change. So we have to look at what kind of a soft skills we require when we go to this kind of a mode, when we use more technology. Take for example communication. So you are talking about how a person effectively can communicate through your tools. Your soft skills may be using the technology can become a soft skill also. So how good you are in using the tools, IT tools, or a lot of digital media platforms, and how fast you can use and how good effectively you can use also can become one of the skills. So I think the whole definition of the soft skills is going to change in the new era, especially after this impact and when we open up. Again, no, even for example, communication or presentation skills, students can do online presentations. In fact, online face-to-face discussions and even your viva voce can improve the our students' skill in communication also. I think that online teaching will definitely will try to improve the communication skills. I think that is what
I want to intervene and ask you one related question. In terms of online teaching or online delivery of courses, in your personal opinion, how many faculty of business schools in India can effectively do that?
See, I think that is exactly the issue now. See, just imagine 3 months back, we never knew the platforms on which we can teach online. But at least now we know what are the platforms available. I think the necessity makes us to learn. So maybe in another 1 year time, our faculty are capable of delivering the courses. Today you look at even the lower level, even the colleges in the village level, undergraduate colleges in every part of the country, they are on online mode. Maybe they are not effectively doing it today. Maybe in a future, maybe in a year's time, they will become more effective.
Dr. Panchanathan wants to ask a question. He says, should the curriculum be industry specific? Because when you say industry, there are so many different types of industry. Should it be industry specific at all?
I think Professor Metri can take up the question.
I think your second question was on that only. Current curriculum redesign, and even though we don't know what kind of products are going to come, we don't know how can we redesign the curriculum. I think it is related to that. I think the question, first of all, certain learning outcomes, there are 5-6 learning outcomes irrespective of what kind of industry the students are going to be employable or going to work. Irrespective of that, if you provide those kind of learning outcomes at the end of the MBA, if they are familiar with those kind of learning outcomes, even though that job is not available, if it is created after the MBA, students can do much better. And there is no need for, unless until we know what kind of industry, and based on that we can teach. I think those days are gone. So today there are certain skills. Number one is a communication. Of course it may undergo, but communication. Number two, leadership and teamwork. Number three, innovative problem solving. Number four, domain knowledge. One has to be expert in any one of the. It is a T. One area one has to be expert, and many areas they should be knowing many things. So it is a T. Knowledge, the talent has to be in the form of T. One, deep knowledge, and many areas they should be knowing. So that is a domain knowledge. Apart from that, cross-cultural understanding and social responsibility. And apart from that, one more we can say business ethics. So these are the 5-6 learning outcomes. If the students are introduced and they have been given a deep knowledge, and they achieved a mastery in all the 6. Irrespective of what kind of industry he or she is going to work, they can do the wonders. So that is why it is not necessarily industry specific. For example, if you take an example of when Vikram Sarabhai went into a space, ISRO, or when Satish Dhawan went into DRDO under the leadership of Homi Bhabha, when they opened other wings from nuclear power, they were not having the background, but they did a wonderful job, and they are known for fathers of those respective areas. So they were totally new in that area, but they did the wonder. So that is where you need not to be knowing that new area, but one has to be very proactive enough. One has to understand the innovative way of problem solving. One has to be very socially responsible. One has to keep their eyes open. One can make the sense and work on that, and domain knowledge. These things are good enough to become the best manager or best leader. The jobs which are yet to come in that area too.
Okay, related question to that. In online teaching, is it possible to have the flipped classroom? The idea of the flipped classroom, can you do it online?
It is very much possible. I think I also referred that in a previous talk. So it is extremely possible, because we have to share our presentations, all the material to the students, and students prepare all those given material well prepared, and even once they prepare and come to the class, and entire online class will be interactive and discussion kind of environment. And probably only one thing is, this kind of environment, the classroom size, if it is 60 plus, probably problem may come. It has to be a smaller classroom, or 60 or less. Probably you can make a fruitful discussion, and students enjoy learning, and it is going to be a great learning.
Now you have close to about 5,000 business schools approved by the AICTE.
Yeah.
Now, do you think all the business schools can go in for online education in management education?
I think because there is no other way, as and today, COVID, the situation continues. Probably that is the only way. Current choice is only that, till to again to bring back to post COVID, how the situation comes, that only tells. But till that, some of the at least semesters or trimesters, many business schools will go into online, because the softwares are available, the agencies are available, the professors are ready to teach. Younger professors, within no time they can get into familiar with the online teaching. Only old professors, those who are familiar with these classrooms, they may take a little more time. Probably they need some kind of training and some kind of familiarity, awareness. If that is without difficulty, they can go online, and I am sure if the opportunity is given, every school can get into that.
Dr. Nandagopal, in the changed scenario, what do you foresee as the role of UGC and AICTE?
See, again, UGC and the AICTE has given the guidelines. Especially in I think they have a very, very bigger role to play, because the whole thing is going to change. The conventional teaching is going to change, and even as I mentioned earlier, even there can be flexibility in the courses. Maybe blended courses, maybe 50% online, 50% classroom, and maybe some of the institutions can offer courses. Students can enroll the courses, and then credit transfer is maybe possible. So maybe UGC has a major role to play to bring complete changes in the education system. And another interesting thing, what we can see is next 2 years, I think all of us know, lakhs of people go to Europe and US, Australia for post-graduation, especially management and also higher education. Now the trend is going to change. Either they are going to be online courses, or they will go to the Indian business schools or Indian institutions. So when the changes are going to take place, when we are looking for challenges, I think you mentioned about 5,000 business schools. 5,000 business schools may not be capable of having an infrastructure today to do an online courses or maybe do online examination. Maybe they have a facilities, and maybe UGC or AICT may come out with a proposal where it can be a collaborative of institution. They can suggest that there can be centers of excellence where they can share the experiences and facilities also.
One question for both of you, probably the last question because we are running out of time. Do you foresee more collaboration among the business schools because of online? Can there be greater collaboration? Can there be consolidation of 5,000 business schools into probably 1,500 business schools?
I think the answer is yes. Future belongs to the collaboration, cooperation, and collaborative leadership. And the second one is as far as the consolidation is concerned, because collaboration, for example, today we can get the faculty from one of the top business school abroad, and they can take an online session. That kind of collaboration can happen. Even though because of this online that is possible, they can come and teach our sessions, our programs, all those things. So it is a collaborative mode, definitely going to make a mark, and it is going to be a greatest advantage than the campus one. Apart from that, another important thing here is the consolidation part is concerned. You see, the competition may come from till now the competition used to be from one business school to other business school, one university to other university. But now in this industry 4.0 and further going ahead, a competition may come from any other sector. For example, some of the companies can also open their universities. For example, Deloitte University is already there. The Tata University may come, L&T may get into all those things. They may get into e-mode, online learning mode, e-learning centers. So many may enter into online apart from traditional university and B school setup. So that is why competition is going to be tough. Competition is going to be intense. And those who wake up and those who are proactive, those who collaborate, and those who are the first one to capture the technology and to put into a digital technology into education system, we are going to lead. And those who are not getting into the technology, they will be automatically separated out as a loser.
Nandagopal?
Yeah, I also fully agree with Professor, but I think the collaboration is going to come. See, maybe it may not be with all the same level of institutions. Maybe some of the good institutions may start mentoring, or they will be looking the support from the smaller institution, will be looking support from the bigger institution. So there is a possibility that major collaboration efforts may start coming. That is one. That's what I mentioned in the beginning also. Some of the institutions will offer a good courses on online that can be transferred to a smaller institution. So that is where the collaboration I foresee that future will come. And as it was mentioned by Professor Metri, that the competition is going to be tough. Maybe I think it's not that 5,000 business schools. I think approximately we have 4,000 business schools. Maybe during this 1 year time, because of the challenges of technology, 1,000 schools may disappear. So we may feel that, expect that some of the good institutions who can invest in technology and who can also collaborate with others will survive.
Okay, the last question. Do you foresee any change in the admission process?
No, I think Professor Metri has some clarity. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I think, sir, one more important information related to the UGC, what the Professor Nandagopal rightly said. UGC and even Ministry of HRD, they are highly into digital technology introduced into universities and the higher education setup, higher education institutions. So that is why there are certain committees are set up and they are promoting very big way Swayam and Swayam Prabha MOOC courses. And there is one committee appointed. I am heading one of the committee for this Swayam courses, because the mapping the courses and probably very soon University Grant Commission may come into details about that, because now, because of the COVID-19 effect, the terms, whatever we are going to start fourth term or even and some of the semesters we start first year and second year. So at that time, to adjust and to accommodate the many courses, traditional courses, it is difficult. But if you go for the SWAYAM courses, there are about UG and PG together about 75 courses available in UGC, including IIM 37 MOOC courses. Students can choose few courses, 20% or whatever the currently 20%, it may go up to 30%, so that your timetable scheduling and also faculty workload may come down. You can curtail the semester so that you can adjust the term next year as a normal one. And this is going to help, and UGC is working on that, and MHRD is also making an attempt to promote online big way with courses.
Thank you. My last question was about the admission.
I think let me react for the admissions. I think as far as admission is concerned, this year there won't be a problem of admission. We have enough candidates. The reason is, one is the foreign courses. I think the people moving out from India is going to be restricted. So people going out to US and Europe, the problems now, they may not go. So there will be a lot of students who will be looking for good institutions and good courses. So the demand will go up. And second thing is, we have seen the demand of business schools always when there is a recession in the industry, especially IT industries. I think this COVID is going to have an impact on IT industry. A lot of students who are got placed, they may not get the jobs, or the students who are working in IT company, they may try to invest in education. They may come back to business schools. So there is no problem, but only one issue is again uncertainty. So now I think we don't know when are we going to admit the students, because uncertainty in the examination, still many of the almost 90% of the universities have not conducted the final examination. When they are going to conduct the examination, when the results are going to come, when they are going to join the courses. I think this is a big challenge, but in terms of numbers, we don't have a problem. We have a good demand for a management program, but only issue is when are we going to admit, when we are going to start the classes. That is a big challenge.
Thank you very much, both of you. It has been an excellent session, and I must thank you for your inputs. I hope the participants have benefited somewhat. We must record our thanks to AIMS, the AIMS president and the entire team, and the secretariat of AIMS for setting this up. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.